this is arguably the most enjoyable part of this presentation because it has to do with jokes and stories. And everybody loves a joke and a story. And the first comes from the campaign that Lincoln waged against Stephen Douglas in 1858 for the United States Senate seat that Douglas held. He was the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate, which meant Lincoln had a pretty heavy uphill fight to even get the nomination. He should never have won. He certainly wouldn't have won in our age because he wasn't photogenic, which is the polite way of saying it. He was ugly as sin, if you want to know the truth. All those arms and legs that went on forever, and the 6'4", 180 pounds, this elongated bean pole, and he's got a top hat into the bargain. What's that, to add stature? What, give me a break. And the face, a mole on his face, and the sunken cheekbones and that banana nose. He looked like a male prototype 19th century version of the Wicked Witch of the West. But in that day, that didn't make any difference. What made the difference was his wizardly working of words. He could mesmerize people just by stringing words together. Wow, and they were just... When the debates would start, he had a series of 6 debates with Douglas, and of course everybody came from far and wide. I mean, this was better than newspapers and radio and television and internet and Blackberries and LinkedIn and all of that wrapped up because it was live. It was live. The cut and thrust. And people probably came like you and I would come. They're kind of milling around, waiting for the thing to start, and they're just chatting, right? Isn't that what they'd be doing? And the time to start would come, and the time to start would pass, and people up there on that podium were probably thinking, well, we got to get this thing started because we got a schedule to maintain. But you can't just get somebody up there to say, hey, everybody, want you all to shut up and sit down because we're ready to start. That leaves a bad taste in the mouth, doesn't it? It just doesn't. But Lincoln had a better idea. And it's an example of his astute use of humor and morphing into leadership. He just told a joke. Now what do you do when you hear a joke? You shut up and listen. Exactly what he wanted them to do. Probably, I would guess, a long joke. Maybe, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. And I want you to imagine, you're in that audience and you probably did what they did. Hey, stop talking. She's getting off a joke, I want to hear it. And this concentric circle of silence extending outward from the podium. Think of a pebble dropped in a pond, right? Still a pond. Eventually you get to the punchline, everybody laughs. Well, not everybody. The people out there on the fringe, they're not laughing. They didn't hear the joke. They heard the laughter, but they didn't hear the joke. And so all of them would say what probably you and I would say, which is the very thing Lincoln intended for them to say. We got to keep quiet because he's bound to get off another couple. I don't want to lose no more than just the one. A rubber sword made his point. Didn't draw any blood. One more example, also from the Lincoln-Douglas debates. At one point, Stephen Douglas accused Lincoln of being two-faced. Well, Lincoln kind of turned to his audience and said, I'll leave it to my audience to decide. If I had a face different to the one you see in front of you, don't you think I'd be wearing it? Madam Toastmaster.